how to use this video. You don't need to study. You don't need to pause or repeat anything. Just listen, like you're sitting nearby and overhearing a real conversation. This is how children learn their first language, not by memorizing, but by listening again and again until the language starts to feel familiar. The more you listen to this series, the more your brain absorbs naturally. You can watch this episode once or put it on repeat while you cook or commute. There's nothing you have to do. Just listen. Today's situation. We're at a coffee shop. It's a busy morning in the city. You're going to hear 3 short scenes. Ordering at the counter, dealing with a small mix-up, and 2 strangers having a quiet conversation at a nearby table. Simple, everyday English. Let's begin. Scene 1. Ordering at the counter. The coffee shop is warm and a little noisy. There's soft music playing in the background. The smell of coffee fills the air. A few people are sitting at small round tables, looking at their phones or reading. Some are working on laptops. Behind the counter, a young woman named Lisa is making drinks. She moves quickly and knows exactly what she's doing. The door opens and a cold gust of air comes in. A man walks through the door. He's wearing a dark coat and carrying a shoulder bag. He looks a little tired, maybe from the morning commute. He joins the short queue and looks up at the menu on the wall. There are many options: lattes, cappuccinos, flat whites, cold brews, teas, and several kinds of pastry. He takes a moment, reading through everything slowly. The person in front of him finishes paying and walks away, holding a large cup with both hands. Now it's the man's turn. He steps forward and smiles at Lisa. "Good morning," he says. "Good morning," Lisa says brightly. "What can I get for you today?" He looks at the menu one more time. "Can I get a medium coffee, please?" "Just black. No milk or sugar." "Of course," Lisa says. "Anything else for you?" He thinks for a second, looking at the glass display case next to the register. There are croissants, muffins, and slices of banana bread. He looks at the banana bread for a moment, then shakes his head. "Actually," he says, "can I also get a small bottle of water? Is that okay?" "Sure, no problem," Lisa says cheerfully. She taps something into the screen in front of her. "So that's a medium black coffee and a small water. That comes to $3.50, please." He takes out his phone. He holds it near the small card reader on the counter. The machine makes a short beeping sound. "Payment done." Lisa smiles. "It'll be ready in just a moment. I'll call your name. What's your name?" He pauses. "Sorry," he says. "It's Daniel." "Great," Lisa says. "Won't be long, Daniel." He steps to the side to wait. He puts his bag down near the wall and checks his phone. He reads something, then puts the phone back in his pocket. He looks around the cafe. A woman at a nearby table is laughing softly at something on her screen. An older man near the window is reading a newspaper, the real kind, made of paper. A young couple near the back are sharing a slice of cake and talking quietly. A minute passes. Then Lisa calls out, "Medium black coffee for Daniel." He looks up. "That's me," he says, walking back to the counter. "Thank you so much." "You're welcome," Lisa says, sliding the cup toward him. "Enjoy." He picks up the coffee and wraps both hands around the warm cup. He nods at Lisa. "Have a good day." "You too," she calls after him. He collects his small bottle of water, puts it in his bag, and moves toward a free table by the window. Outside, the morning is gray and cold, But inside the cafe, it's warm and the coffee smells wonderful. Scene 2, a small mix-up. About 20 minutes later, the cafe is even busier. The queue at the counter is longer now. Lisa and a second barista, a young man named Tom, are both working. They're moving fast, taking orders and making drinks. A woman comes in and joins the queue. She's in her 30s, wearing a red coat and carrying a large bag. She looks a little rushed. When it's her turn, she approaches the counter and speaks to Tom. "Hi there. Can I get a large oat milk latte, please?" "1 sugar." "Sure," Tom says. "Large oat milk latte, 1 sugar." "Name?" "It's Claire," she says. Tom nods and writes something on a cup in black marker. He turns around and starts making the drink. A minute later, he puts a cup on the collection area of the counter and calls out, "Large latte for Claire." She picks up the cup and takes a sip as she walks toward the door. Then she stops. She tastes it again. She turns around and comes back to the counter. "Excuse me," she says politely. "Sorry to bother you, but I think this might be wrong. I ordered oat milk, but this tastes like regular milk to me." Tom looks up immediately. "Oh, I'm really sorry about that. Let me check." He looks at the cup. He closes his eyes for a second. "Yeah, you're right. I'm so sorry. That was my mistake. I'll make you a new one right away." "That's okay," Claire says. She smiles. "These things happen." Tom shakes his head slightly, embarrassed. "I'll have it ready in just 2 minutes. Can I get you anything while you wait? A glass of water?" "Oh, no, thank you. That's very kind," she says. "I'm fine." She steps to the side and waits. She takes out her phone and sends a quick message to someone. A moment later, Tom calls her name again. "Claire, here's your oat milk latte, 1 sugar." And again, "I'm really sorry about that." "Don't worry about it," she says warmly, picking up the new cup. "It happens." "Thank you." "No worries," Tom says. "Have a good one." She waves and heads toward the door, this time not stopping. She pushes it open with her shoulder, and the cold morning air fills the doorway for a moment before the door swings shut behind her. Scene 3, a conversation at a nearby table. Back inside, the cafe has settled into its morning rhythm. The queue is shorter. The music is a little clearer now. Daniel is still sitting at his table by the window, his coffee half finished in front of him. He's looking out at the street. At the table next to his, 2 people are talking. A woman in her 40s with short gray hair and a younger man who looks to be in his late 20s. They seem to know each other, but not very well, like colleagues who sometimes have lunch together or neighbors who bump into each other in the mornings. The woman takes a sip of her drink and sets it down. "So how long have you been coming here?" she asks. The man thinks for a second. "About a year, maybe. I live just around the corner, so it's kind of my regular spot." "Mine too," she says, "though I don't usually come this early. I had a meeting that got moved." "Oh, right." The man nods. "How did that go?" She makes a small face. Not quite unhappy, not quite happy. "It was fine. A lot of talking and not much decided, honestly. You know how those meetings can be." The man laughs quietly. "Yeah, I do." She smiles and looks around the cafe. "I like this place," she says. "It's noisy, but it doesn't feel loud, if that makes sense. Like it's busy, but it's a nice kind of busy." "I know exactly what you mean," the man says. "It's good background noise. I actually come here to work sometimes because I concentrate better when there's a bit of noise around me." "Really?" she says, looking interested. "I'm the opposite. I need total silence." He smiles. I used to be like that. Then I had a neighbor who practiced violin every morning, and I just had to adapt. She laughs. That sounds difficult. It was, he says. But now I can work through almost anything. She picks up her cup. Well, I should get going. My next meeting is at 10, and I need to walk across town. She starts putting on her coat. It was nice talking to you, she says. Yeah, you too, the man says. Maybe I'll see you here again. Probably, she says with a smile. Seems like we have the same routine. She picks up her bag, gives a small wave, and walks toward the door. The man watches her go, then turns back to his laptop. He types something, then stops and looks out the window for a moment, thinking. Then he goes back to typing. At the next table, Daniel finishes the last of his coffee, folds up his coat, picks up his bag, and stands. He looks around the cafe one more time. The soft music, the warm light, the hum of quiet conversation. Then he walks to the door, pushes it open, and steps back out into the cold morning. See you tomorrow. Tomorrow we're at a hotel. Someone is checking in for the first time. They have a question about their room. And somewhere in the lobby, a couple is trying to figure out where to have dinner. Same slow pace, same simple English. See you then.